Welcome back, it's Rich, and in this episode, Rich reviews a fourth Beverly Hills Cop movie, Axel F. Let's go. Welcome back to Rich Reviews, no-nonsense movie chat from the UK. So Beverly Hills Cop 4, Axel F. Have you seen it yet? What were your thoughts? Leave a comment below, and with that in mind, let's review Axel F. So finally, after 30 years since Beverly Hills Cop 3, we get a sequel oddly titled Axel F rather than a part 4, but it doesn't matter. This is a definite sequel, and more so to the original two than the third, as that one kind of went on a bit of a tangent with the Wonderworld theme park scene and a George Lucas cameo, for example. Eddie Murphy returns, now 63 years old if you can believe that, as the maverick Detroit police officer Axel Foley, in what's promised to be a great fun return for Eddie following a string of modern flops. That included Candy Cane Lane, which I reviewed at Christmas and gave it a dreadful 1 out of 5 on my channel. This character and set of films though is one of his old classics, and with a budget of Netflix and some classic Eddie comedy, now we finally get to see the results. Returning characters such as the excellent Surge, played by Johnson Pinchot, and also Foley's previous two co-stars Taggart and Rosewood, played by John Ashton and Judge Reinhold. You mix this with a classic Axel F soundtrack, and surely it's a recipe for a hit. Or is it more the crazy frog and best forgotten about? So Axel F follows a very stereotypical 80s movie. There's a case going off in Beverly Hills where corrupt cops and drug lords are up to no good, getting drug shit from the docks, a murder happens, and then the framing of an innocent victim in that murder. This murder is captured on a camera. Most of the movie revolves around obtaining an SD card that would give clear evidence of who the actual killer was and exonerate the framed victim. Billy Rosewood from the original trilogies gets hold of this SD card and is shortly afterward captured by the same set of bad dudes. And in addition to this, the attorney representing the framed victim is none other than Jane, Axel's daughter in the story, and she's also threatened by the same crew of scumbags to drop this case and just walk away. And this brings Axel over to Beverly Hills once again, not only to meet with his daughter, but to try and save his old pal Rosewood. His relationship with his daughter is rocky to say the least, as he's not been the best of dads to her and he's not present in her life for many years, resulting in a bit of a side story between them where Axel's forever trying to bond and make peace, but she's having none of it. The whole case, however, forces them to work together and seek out Axel's other friend, Taggart, the previous partner for Rosewood, and also introducing a newcomer, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who has had some previous love interest with Foley's daughter. Lastly, we also get the newcomer Captain Grant, played by Kevin Bacon, and he's got his own personal interest in the case too. And what transpires then is a full-on 80s throwback to action films with all the best beats and quips in place to pretty much replicate the first Beverly Hills Cop movie from the 80s. So let's talk about what worked. Axel F is a full-on 80s movie, make no mistake about it. It's all there, from the stereotypical action scenes, the opening credits, the bassline and synth background music. You get drug cartels, cop cars crashing into one another, shipping of drugs at a docks, corrupt cops, and a marble mansion with a hostage and armed guards getting blown up just like in Commando. It couldn't be more 80s if it tried, but I like that, as for me, it felt exactly what I wanted from this film. It is Beverly Hills Cop through and through, and if you swapped Murphy for Schwarzenegger and Stallone, it'd still be the same thing and nothing would be out of place, but it's good. The difference here, though, is Murphy himself and what he brings that's different to the other two guys. It loses that serious edge, and he has his classic comedy style and quips, such as when he walks into a room and tries to make up some story or fake scenario to maybe get him into or out of a situation, just like in the old movies. He does that a lot in this film. It's really interesting to watch, and I do like that, but sometimes it's a bit more 50-50 as to whether it works or not, because this is more modern times and people aren't so dumb, and it plays on this to good effect. He's stuck in the past somewhat and the world's moved on. It's a safe movie as well. Some have said it's like the Force Awakens of the Star Wars films, like a rehash of the original, and this is kind of like that of the Beverly Hills Cop universe. It's exactly what it is. It's not groundbreaking, it's nothing new, it's just more of the same, but good the same, and it shouldn't put you off from watching it. If you're a fan of the originals or even any 80s action film, this'll probably be right up your street. It's great revisiting the old characters, although their time is limited on screen, but I still feel like it's all familiar and fun, with great action set pieces, both looking and feeling like this is a cinema release rather than a straight-to-streaming Netflix movie, which it is. And despite Eddie's ridiculous 63-year-old age, and he doesn't look it, it does not show at all. He's pretty much just the same dude he always was, just got a slightly heavier build to him, but he copes with the action scenes and the lines no problem. It's great fun from start to finish, and I smiled when the credits rolled, even though it was completely cheesy and as 80s as it could be, and I can't stress that enough. It was probably due to the nostalgia overload hit I got from it, but it did make me smile at the end. Some parts that didn't work were the slightly frustrating relationship between FOLEY and his daughter, with her beating down on him hard over and over, and while probably deservedly so in real life, for a movie you're kind of done with it after a bit, and you just kind of want them to get on for the sake of entertaining in an action comedy romp of a movie. It kind of grates a little bit. It's a little too serious in a not so serious film. Some of the jokes too don't quite land so well, so despite being mostly fine, and that's the other point, they're kind of just fine. Nothing's outstanding classic Eddie comedy, it's just fine Eddie comedy. Mildly funny, creates a slight chuckle here and there, but nothing more. I'd also like to see more of the older crew together, as we have a few scenes showing this, and one in particular that did leave me wanting more, but it was all too brief and it was right at the end before the credits rolled. So my final thoughts on this, I'm going to give Axel F a 4 out of 5. I think it's a solid movie, it's dripping and soaked in 80s action, it looks like an 80s film, it sounds like an 80s film, in every sense. It's exactly what I expected, and because of that, it kind of is a little safe. The story's very similar as well to a lot of these older films. It's nothing new, but comforting and still well worth a watch with a beer over the weekend. It's out now on Netflix, and if you've seen it, leave a comment below. But until next time, keep smiling, peeps.